Okay. Steve, are you there, mate?
I am here. How are you, Mark?
Good, man. Good. So we're live on air. Bit of a
We are
different
indeed.
setup, bit of a different time.
Oh, hang on.
Well, you're streaming live and talking on air at the same time?
Yep, we started talking in the background because you can't mute the speaker before it starts playing. So
Valid.
So I see you're in San Francisco now. Nice. Yeah, I thought you were going to New Zealand from London, but a little stop on San Francisco on the way.
Well, you'd think, right? With Foster's beer. Do you know anything about Foster's beer?
Oh, yeah, well, we have it over here.
It's Australian, but nobody in Australia drinks it.
Yeah, I think it's a American tourist beer.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. Well, someone had told me before that the water that they use is different or something, so it tastes different. What's that bot running? You had some sort of bot running in there.
Yeah, it's something I set up ages ago, and I was trying to,
Can't figure out how to turn it off.
I can't get rid of this stupid thing. So anyhow, the reason why I have this beautiful black backdrop is because I'm just operating off my laptop. The movers came in today. They cleaned out all my stuff, packed it up. I assume it's going to be on a ship shortly, making its way to New Zealand. And so, we're talking about everything's gone from the kitchen. Everything's gone.
Just you and a laptop.
Bare wall behind me and some bookshelves.
Oh, you mean like the one I got behind me?
Yeah.
Oops, hang on.
Whoa, oh, you're getting calls, man.
You mean like
Paparazzi.
the wall behind me, the bare wall.
Yeah, man, you've got all out of focus. You need to move your face to your camera. See there.
Oh, camera, wake up, camera. There we go. That's better.
Wow, do we have anybody online? I wonder if this new time has kind of upset the audience, and I can't
catch it in replay, but we're definitely shifting. We shifted
time
5 hours, right? Something like that. 4 or 5 hours, so quite a bit later than we were before.
Yeah.
So that's probably thrown a few people for a loop that were on this morning at 11, wondering where we were.
Yeah, well, it's 8 o'clock now in London. And this, of course, is my last broadcast from London. Next time that I'm on here, it'll be from New Zealand.
Yeah. What time will it be there? You said it'll be morning, right? It'll be the next day.
Like 8 a.m. in the morning for me. So no more beers on the show for me. Unless it's a breakfast beer, of course.
It's 4 o'clock for me in the afternoon here, Eastern time. So I could probably start drinking some beers.
And so
definitely won't be having any customer calls after this. So
it was 2 o'clock Seattle time. Did we work out, or 1 o'clock?
It should be 1 o'clock. Yeah, 1 o'clock Seattle. So we pretty much got the whole U.S. covered in the afternoons now.
Yep.
And
interesting. I think that's probably a better time for the US audience. And that means Canada, of course, would be covered then as well, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, we can go through the run sheet. If we don't have anybody any questions or anybody online wanting to ask anything, we just hit that run sheet. Maybe we even wrap up a little early if we don't.
We could do that.
If we don't have an hour to fill.
Yeah, I have to go out for dinner because we got not even a knife and fork to eat here anymore.
So I've learned as a single man, you really only need one knife, one fork, and one spoon.
Yeah.
One cup. You don't need a whole set of silverware, set of dishes. I have them, but it's always the same knife and fork, just rewash, reuse, rewash, reuse. They just stay in the sink.
Yes, rotate them. Rotate the cup, the bowl, the plate.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. But I don't cook at home anyway. I eat out every night. So there's a bunch of restaurants around here. I just kind of rotate through them and I eat out every night. I
mean, heck, in London, that's pretty much our lifestyle as well. But and actually living in Auckland, it's probably going to be the lifestyle as well, because where we are is we're all in the restaurant district. So lots of options.
The only reason I can imagine cooking is there's no place to eat.
Yeah. I'm going to end up being on the same block or same road as Microsoft. And they're going to be, as in, there's like my block, a road, and their block, and they're right on the corner of it. So
Andy, they have a nice facility there in Auckland.
yeah, not too bad, not too bad. I might be a bit tired, been around a while, but it should be good. It'll be interesting to rekindle. Or 7 years I've been out of New Zealand, so
Well, everybody that was there is gone then.
yeah.
At least everybody
Pretty
from
much.
Microsoft. There'll be no one that's still there.
I think there's more people that I know in Microsoft that were former in the partner channel that have ended up developing their careers into the point that they've gone into Microsoft. So I know a few people there in that respect. But there's the odd person. There's the odd person. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. The one who never moved up.
One of the things that we were going to discuss, it blew up this week, and I know we touched on it probably before we went away, is a self-service licensing.
Yeah.
And I noticed Yuka said, because so many admins and stuff were wetting their pants on it, and he, because of the security risk that it was going to break. And I like his thing that, licensing shouldn't be a security construct.
Yep.
Right? Licensing shouldn't be a security construct. I think that the ability for people to have a friction-free way of purchasing Microsoft tech has always been important, and I think it's a smart move personally.
I mean, I think that what admins need to master, and I think a lot of them have, and those that haven't probably need to, is Azure AD. That's really where you're going to control everything from. Maybe a user can buy an app, but from within Azure AD, you can prevent them from doing anything with it at all if you want to. It's definitely not a licensed situation. I agree with you on that one.
No, and the thing is that just because Microsoft's enabling this now, it's not like people haven't been doing this for years.
Other platforms, have had this model, so it's so Microsofty to be like to adopt something other people have did and then get a whole bunch of heat for it.
I know.
Same thing with like the ISV rev share. There's no other platform that you can build on of any, that you'd want to that doesn't have rev share. They are just the last ones to have it.
Yeah.
So, but they always seem to get heat whenever they try and do something that, everybody else has been doing.
And don't they get the heat? It's just nuts the way everyone's reacted over it. There's been so much I've seen online and our back channels, and
they make enough missteps, just normally that there's always something to gripe about, but people just seem to want to gripe about everything, regardless of whether it's a misstep or not.
Yeah.
So, and fortunately, we're able to, because of where we are in the ecosystem, we see more missteps than most people do, but then they get corrected before they get out to the other people.
True.
So,
true. Mate, is that your Tinder app going off there, mate?
No, that's my mom decided to call me. I'm going to turn my speaker off there.
So, the other one I noticed coming out this week was from Antti up in Finland, and he's done a few videos there about the new web project server.
Yeah, that was, that was another one that caused some controversy, right? Because when they first talked about that, everybody said, "Oh, PSA is going away. Don't buy any more PSA. It's going away." And it wasn't that it was going away at all.
Mm-hmm.
I actually got some heat for that, once again being misquoted.
Yeah.
But it wasn't going away. That just the work breakdown structure engine was being replaced with the one that's been around forever, that's tried and true, and so it doesn't surprise me. It kind of did a refresh online. I haven't looked at it yet, but if Antti's happy, then I'm sure it's good, because he's not a guy who will let him slide.
I just saw a few of the UI screen grabs that he had, and I was like, wow, this looks pretty slick.
Yeah.
Like, this looks like something like that I would see, like a modern startup type build, super slick, good color palette, look visually top notch. I don't know functionally, because I've not put my finger on it, but it definitely looked okay. Definitely I like it. So.
All right, so that's the new project online, now running on CDS, right? I think it runs on CDS now.
Does it really? It runs on, wow, I didn't know that.
I think that was another one of the changes with that. I mean, anything that Phillips has grabbed and pulled into his group, he is on a mission to get it standing on CDS.
Yeah.
So
Well,
and I don't blame him. I mean, you know, that's going to be the core, the heartbeat of everything we're doing is going to be CDS. So everything he brings in, he's going to want to have sitting on that or connected to that, or that's
yeah.
going to be around it. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting come January, right? And see the initial wave announcements for calendar 2020. I think we're going to, huh?
Is this a prediction?
Well, it's one of those predictions that, you know, you and I have had some discussions with people. That means that, let's say it's not, it's prediction may be based on a bit of insider knowledge. But I feel that we're going to see CDS take off next year.
Oh,
You know,
wow,
just
that was how earth-shattering, Mark. Man, you really let the cat out of the bag with that one.
you know, Khan, you know what I'm saying? Like we've seen, you know, Ryan Jones talk about his 5 key driving strategies. I don't think they're going away.
Yeah.
But I think that they've been able to address a lot of them, get the stabilization in place, get the access, a lot of the shit under the covers, so to speak, that was legacy.
Yep.
Sorted out. And now
I
think we're going to see some, I think we're going to see some really interesting pushing the envelope technology coming at that platform layer that's going to light up some very interesting scenarios. You know, we're just talking about before, somebody made a shout out on that interview I did with Lamana when you were videoing us.
Yep.
And Charles said that the AI builder, which has 4 templates in it currently, they're going to release 8 more.
Yeah.
Mate, that's pretty big.
You know, it's interesting because we did touch in the last show about how, you know, it was a much bigger effort than just let's take the first party app separated from the platform and make the platform available. That was the beginning of the effort, certainly, but there's been a lot of work to go to make that a true platform and not just the underpinnings of their first party apps.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because as they've been adding brand new capabilities, they've still had to, you know, get like you say, all the shit under the hood up to snuff and up to speed to where it's, you know, reliable and doing what it needs to do. But I agree with you. I think we're coming to a perfect storm where it's really solid, lots of features around it. And they've already been making noise about it to us and to partners. But I think we're going to start hearing I think they're ready to really take the reins off and let that thing run.
Yeah.
The $10 license, come on, that whole thing is about making that platform run, you know?
Yeah.
Every phone call I'm having today with customers is about that $10 license. There's a lot of interest and nobody has anything, you know, I mean, Salesforce can't touch that.
Yeah. I was talking to an ISB about an hour ago, and he goes, you know what? I could never understand what you're talking about the Power Platform and Dynamics and why we shouldn't build directly on Dynamics. We should build on the Power Platform directly and blah, blah, blah. And he was like, but the light bulb came on, and he was like, now I see it. Now I see what's possible.
What was the light bulb? The $10 license?
Well, not just the license, but I think there was a misconception around the user interface. Like it was like a platform with no UI on it.
Yeah, right.
As well. And so I think some people think of, it's just like, you know, a platform, but there's kind of not this interface layer. And of course, that's one of the big selling points. Out of the box, you get a full UI that is declaratively, you know, placed or laid out.
I mean, it's responsive and it's ready to go. I mean, there's not a lot on it, you know, but you know, that's your starting point. You know, you got your accounts and contacts and you know, all the dashboarding engine is there, workflow engine is there in addition to flow. I mean, everything is there.
Yeah.
And I would say that out of the box, just a naked CDS instance is a Rolodex. starts out as a Rolodex, basically a list of companies and a list of people, but it's completely usable. You don't have to code a single thing to start using it as a Rolodex. Then is when you start advancing that thing to become a business application from there.
Yeah.
But you're not just starting with, it's not like you're building something in Azure.
Yeah. How soon do you think it'll take, or how long will it take for Click Dimensions to wake up and see that if they went and built a bit of a CRM sales module on the front of their marketing thing? And, all they got to do is look at something like HubSpot and look at their they claim they've got a CRM. It's a tidy little thing. It does pretty much as what Dynamics 365 sales does, probably without the product catalog, maybe.
No, the HubSpot's CRM feature is pretty light duty. I mean, they're really a marketing.
That's what I'm saying. But it's like, how heavy does it need to be?
Yeah,
sales, opportunities, maybe leads. If you have that kind of construct, you don't need the product catalog or all the other bits and pieces.
No, but if you need, opportunities and leads, and you're going to try and make use of Microsoft, that's a restricted entity. It's going to throw you into that full license anyway. So the only way they can really do it is if I know one of the things they make heavy use of is marketing lists, and I'm going to be guaranteed that's going to be on the restricted entity list. So they'd have to rebuild some of that stuff.
Yeah.
And then you get into that same trap that now the customer decides later they want to upgrade to the full first party, and you've got, 2 lead entities out there.
No. The problem is Microsoft doesn't have a story, and that's Microsoft's problem to solve that.
Yeah.
Right? It's no longer on ISVs to solve that shit. Microsoft needs to sort it out. Their common data model that they've sold, marketed, that story they've told. And like I was, I'm involved in building a solution as well. A few people on the chat there, you might want to have a chat with them.
The one you're building hasn't come to market yet, so you're not impacted by cost. Click Dimensions, they can't just sit there and cross their arms and wait for Microsoft. They got to make money. They got subscribers. They got people.
No, we're talking about what do you do when you create 2 lead entities, or what do you do when you create 2 opportunity? And my thing was like, create a second opportunity entity. When we have a customer that requires both, we'll carry out a mapping function and map to it, because there's no other option at the moment. Microsoft hasn't got the engineering in place for it.
Well, I think they have the engineering. What they don't have is the willpower to remove the restricted tag. We can install a.
Hang on. Have they listed you had that chat with Charles.
Yep.
Have they given us an updated list of what's restricted and not?
They haven't. They promised it to us a while ago, said it's coming, but we still haven't seen it. So I think they're still internally debating what should be on it and what shouldn't. But as Mohammed Mustafa had pointed out a while back, we can spin up a sales instance, and then we can go buy $10 app licenses to run on that instance, provided we aren't using any of their.
Yeah.
This is the restricted entity. So technically we can get the entity, but the restricted tag being thrown on that opportunity or lead is what keeps us from being able to use it. I would like to see them, instead of make restricted entities, maybe it's more around restricted logic or something of their logic, because a table with attributes is just a fucking table with attributes. Why are you going to put a restriction on the one you made? I can make the same table with the same attributes in about 15 minutes, but it's not the same. You've created a future problem for both of us. That's not the value. The value is in your logic. The value is in your process. Make that restricted, not a freaking table of attributes. That's just kind of silly to me.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to cause the problem down the road for folks. Fortunately, I think the problem it's going to cause is a bigger problem for the first party teams. They're thinking that they're protecting their turf by restricting these entities. What's going to happen, though, is customers are still going to want that $10 license. They're going to build their own custom opportunity entity and think, you know what, I just made what I needed for myself. They're not going to upgrade. This idea that at some point a customer is going to start with a Power App and then upgrade to the full first party, I don't see that motion happening in real life because they're going to start on a $10 license. They're going to customize it with or without a partner to meet their needs. As their needs grow, they'll continue customizing on that. At what point are they going to say, you know what? Let's go multiply our license cost by 9x so we can use something that we didn't build yet? Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so we've got a few people online. Let's have a look. Our old friend AR Hollow Bed. He's made it. Commenting on my background. There you go. I've removed it. I just want to point out everything was taken away today. The movers came in, took everything. All they left me was with this can of beer. Andrew,
and I'm the opposite. I've just moved in and I don't have anything here yet. So yours just all left. Mine has not arrived yet.
They tell me it's going to take 3 months before I get my stuff. It has to sail.
I'm expecting some here in a few days. So
all the way. He's saying that you're talking yourself into a blog post there.
Yeah, maybe I'm overdue to write one. I haven't written one. We were talking before the show. I don't think I've written anything in like 2 months. So this show's kind of, filled a little bit of that gap, keep me from disappearing into obscurity. But yeah, there's a lot of people that follow that blog. I need to write something.
Yeah.
I'll definitely.
I tell you what, if you're listening to this on playback, would be keen to hear around the new time that we've changed to. We've made it more afternoon centric for the US time zone. It had the benefit of enabling me to get up at Sparrow in New Zealand and get early Thursday morning. So I'll be a day ahead of you all, most of you, when I talk. No more beers because it'll be first thing in the morning. But I'll be keen to hear your feedback around the time zone difference. Has it kind of screwed up your listening habits or viewing habits? And do we need to change it? Do we need to add something else to the show? Actually, I'm looking for Steve tells me that next week he's on a flight at the time our show's on. Yeah. Can't make it. So I'm just wondering if someone out there wants to join me and co-host the show. Perhaps you want to reach out to me between me flying back to New Zealand and setting up that show for next week. I need a co-host. Yeah.
Then you got what, about a week for folks here on replay to ping you to see if they want to do it. Yeah.
Tell me if they want to co-host with me, and mate, they better bring the humor, and they better bring some good content.
So Ken, where are you located? How did this time change impact you? Are you still in a good time zone, or did this mess with you?
Mm-hmm. How feisty will I be in the morning?
Good question.
It'll
be your Thursday morning, right?
Huh?
It'll be your Thursday morning.
It'll be my Thursday morning, yeah.
So
Andrew was asking, he has a query regarding Flow Plan 2 and the offering in Office 365 E3 Enterprise. Well, type in your query, let us know what it is regarding that. Let's see if we can find out an answer. Okay, so
yeah, basically,
okay time-wise for him.
Basically, they really cut back the capabilities of the seeded flow and the seeded PowerApps that came with Office 365, and they're wanting to shove people over to the newer paid versions of that. So I think they're going to intentionally make that less useful without the plan.
Yeah. I think this, whenever Microsoft ramps up a product, they seed it, they release it in market, they make it easily accessible. The thing is, things like Flow and what else? Flow, PowerApps, all these things that were pretty much free, they now they can't be free forever, right? They've got to stand up and produce.
It kind of illustrates how they're still making decisions on the fly here. We're not in the middle of like a well thought out 5-year plan. We're kind of shooting from the hip and making changes, because they could have released PowerApps and Flow as preview, right? Which is what they usually do with software, let you use it for free for a long period of time. Mm-hmm. It's called preview, and that at the end of that preview, you're gonna have to buy it or not. But they didn't do that. They just released them as features over there. No preview. And now it's essentially they're coming back that if they'd had the foresight, they could have put preview and they wouldn't have any problems now. So it's kind of obvious that they hadn't thought this that far out, and they're kind of making changes on the fly based on market, based on, heck, I think just capabilities about the software they're building as they discover them and understand them. They're realizing, you know what, this flow is a lot more valuable than we were originally thinking. Both because people are using it differently than we originally thought, and we've evolved the development in a different direction. I mean, I think that just it ends up something that started out as this would be a handy little convenience we'll make for free, that just evolves into a pretty powerful tool that's too powerful to be free. You know?
Yeah. I've got to try. Like a couple of weeks ago, I put a blog post up around my first flow, and I actually haven't built it yet. And I said my first practical flow. I've built flows before, but nothing that,
Okay.
kind of saves
Wait
me.
a minute. Wait a minute. You dangled that out there hoping to get somebody to build your flow for you. So what you're really saying is no one offered to do it.
No, what I'm saying is it has been built. So somebody did. If you actually have a look at the post, the comment section is the longest amount of comments I've ever had on a post.
Everybody building it for you?
Well, this one guy, and I'm remiss in and forgetting his name, but once I build it, like I'll be looking at, I'll get to it. I'll build it and try it out, which is this whole thing is syncing multiple Office 365 calendars into a single calendar. So he hit me up this the other night and said, "Have you had a go yet?" And I said, "No, I haven't got around to it." He goes, "Mate, I've been using it for 2 weeks now, and it's working like a charm." So he did accept the challenge. He did build it out, and because he had the same use case.
You just haven't used it yet.
And it's working. So I'm going to get it set up on mine. And then, perhaps this, I think his name's Mitch from memory. I'm bad in names. I should have remembered. I think I'll see if he wants to do a co-hosted or co-written blog about how it works. And I tell you what, it'll save a lot of time and messing about if it all works, no problem.
Well, you ought to have plenty of time this evening to work on it, because after the show, you have literally nothing to do in your apartment because there's nothing there but your computer and internet. So perfect time to do it.
I have a wife here, and it's evening time, so there's other things I can do.
Yeah, well, I guess floors are floors, right? That's what floors are made for. Yes, Andrew, that is what John Levesque has been talking about, that flow is no longer going to be free. I think there's still going to be some basic seeded capabilities, but they're just going to tighten that down so tight that almost everybody to get any decent value is going to switch to a paid one.
Yeah.
It would feel like a bait and switch if you were going to be really cynical, that they did this on purpose to get a bunch of people hooked on it and then change. But I don't think that's what happened. I think the tool became more valuable than they originally thought it would be, and it was just too powerful to give away for free anymore.
Yeah.
So
there's a market that wants to use a tool that's easy to use, right?
Yep.
I saw some functionality coming out this past week around it could be exported to Visio or something. You could export your flows. So I assume for documentation purposes, maybe, business analysts want to kind of understand something, build training content, etc. off it.
I think you can actually build your flow using Visio and publish it back into Flow.
I think it worked. I think,
both
so
ways.
that's been around for a while. This is now the other way, like publishing a live flow as a Visio document.
I'll tell you what, we had a customer not that long ago that we've been working on for 4 years. A lot of complex, huge workflows that have been developed over much time, who asked us if we could send them a diagram of the workflows.
Yeah.
And really, without the box workflows, I mean, I was looking on, Toolbox, I was looking anywhere for some kind of a tool that I could just, because I can't imagine, I mean, it would take days just to manually map out all of what's going on, all the conditions and branches and all this kind of crap. But to be able to, if we'd have done it in Flow, I don't know that we could have done everything in Flow, but if we did, to be able to just export that to Visio and have a complete, for documentation, that would be huge.
Yeah. And, there's people even from a business re-engineering point of view that you can see that would be quite helpful. That, you know, they want to print it out, and they want to go, you know what, we're seeing here in this part of our business process,
Yep.
we need to improve this. This is where we're seeing delay, blah, blah, whatever it might be.
Yep.
And go, okay, how would that look? And potentially mock up a new flow off that. But I definitely could see the requirement we need to know the as is state to be able to make those to be state type decisions.
Yeah, it definitely happens in real life, even when you're working on, complex workflows with a customer, because they don't know how to do it. They're just talking about what they'd like to have happen when, and
Yeah.
you're building and you're doing things, and you're saying, okay, go see if that's doing what you think it should do. And they're looking at it and saying, well, I actually wanted it to do this or a little bit, but to be able to produce a document to show them, graphically, here's exactly what's happening. I think they would discover things even about something they think is working.
Yeah.
They didn't realize that, oh, you know what, this probably could work better. So I think it could be pretty valuable. Of course, we got to get on flow, right? Got to get everybody on flow first.
Totally. Ignite 2019. Is that kickoff next week?
Yeah, I think it's right around the corner. Yeah.
Is that in Orlando next week?
Yeah, Orlando again. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to go to that one because I'm going to be again gone.
Yeah, so just an hour down the road from you, isn't it?
Yep. But yeah, I've heard that Ignite is a lot more business app friendly than it has been in past years. So it's probably one that I'll regret missing. But you got to do what you got to do, right?
It's year one. Year two might blow up bigger than Ben-Hur, so it might be the one to be on.
Yeah.
I was on a call. Well, I've been on a bit of correspondence around Barcelona coming up for Community Summit, based on our interaction last summit a couple of weeks ago. And they want to do a full dedicated day to ISVs. So that means they need 9 ISV sessions. Currently, there's 3 submitted.
Oh.
Only 3. So I've been tasked with coming up with 6 other sessions and 6 other speakers.
Yeah, well, if you want to produce all of the decks, I'll be happy to stand up and talk.
Fuck off. No way. As in, but I don't know. As it'd be good to. I want to get some. If we've got I think there's a need for a dedicated ISV track, and I want a variety of speakers. So once again, anybody listening that think they or know of a good ISV business that's been running a bit more than 5 minutes, right? Been running for at least 3 to 4 years. Yeah, let me know, because I'd be keen to kind of get a good variety of ISVs presenting, not just, their technology, but also their experience of building an ISV. What were the gotchas? What were the lessons learned? What were the, what worked? What should you avoid? That type of thing. And mate, it's Barcelona, right? Who wouldn't want to go to Barcelona?
Yeah.
I'm planning on booking my ticket pretty much in 2 weeks' time to go there once I'm landed in the new home country. I don't know if you're planning the same thing. I see that MVP Summit for us is the following week. So I'm going to come, up to Barcelona. I'm going to go from Barcelona, probably out through Portugal and straight across to Seattle. I think there's a flight that way.
So I'll probably be joining you on that flight.
Huh?
I'll fly to Barcelona, and I'll probably join you on the flight from Barcelona to Seattle.
Yeah.
For that one. Yeah. From an ISV standpoint, there's so much to wrap their arms around. They got impacted by a lot of these changes to a greater degree, I think, than any customer did.
Yeah.
Customer has a single environment to deal with. They may be impacted by something. They go in and make an adjustment. They may not be impacted by anything. They may have some things to take advantage of, but ISV, you're sitting across lots of environments. So you're talking about trying to push something out at scale, and not just the technology side, but the whole commerce side, the whole Connect program. There's a lot of stuff for ISVs. It just really got waylaid.
Yeah. I've got a guest lined up for my show who runs the top 100 ISVs.
Yep.
Around the world in the new program. He's based in the UK here, Ewan, and I'm looking forward to that discussion.
Oh yeah, yeah. We met with the Ewan from out there. Yep, yep. Good guy. Yeah, that'll be good. He was pretty candid. With that audience too. He wasn't cagey like sometimes, you know.
I love it, right? He's on point, to the point. You know, things are changing. Did you? I don't know. You've obviously been busy with your move and whatnot. But this week, my podcast, or was it this last week? It might have been last week. I don't know. I lose track of time. My podcast with the first architect of Microsoft CRM back in 2001 was on the show.
Oh yeah, is the show out? Is the show out?
Aaron Elder.
Yeah, is the show out?
Huh? Yeah, the show's out. Yeah, so it's out. Yeah, well, published last week or something like that. And man, it was so interesting. Like, I've had so much feedback on the show. People that, you know, from a nostalgic perspective, bringing up the past. And but there was a soundbite in it. He goes, when I asked him something about it, he goes, you know what? I've probably forgotten more about Microsoft CRM than what people have ever learned.
Yeah,
he said,
right.
Like he talks about working with Satya and him approving the full rewrite of code because something massively changed in the way the technology was running. How I always thought it came from that they had CRM. It actually come from a case management system, the company they acquired, and they worked on a model as, okay, we bought your company because we know you've done it. Now we want you to rewrite it on our platform. So they wouldn't kind of take the existing technology. They would take, it was like they would acquire the company to get the structure.
Yeah, the idea, the architecture.
You know, you've had to play with it. You've had to try. Now let's build it properly on our platform.
Is he still involved? Is he still involved in the business? Is he involved with the new products at all? Or is he out?
No. He left in 2004. So you think I got involved in Dynamics in 2003. So he left a year later, and like he's done multiple startups and very successful, right? And this was crazy because, right, it was just after the whole bomb era where, you know, nobody was investing in anything. But he said another interesting soundbite, and I think it's interesting for ISVs. They had one angel investor that just believed that they were doing the right thing and didn't pull out on them.
Yeah.
And like, that's it. You only need one, right? You only need one funder to go, you know what, I believe in your idea.
Yep.
You don't need millions. You just need one.
With a deep enough pocket.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, I've just finished a book called The Hard Thing About Hard Things. And it was by a guy that was one of the founders of Netscape Navigator, and then built multiple companies that sold for billions of dollars. And this is billions of dollars, you think, 20 years ago. So, right, big deal, right? And man, I just couldn't recommend it enough to anybody thinking of starting a business in software. Like
Andreessen or somebody like that, or
that sounds about right. No, actually, he was a business partner. I think his name is Hayden. Hang on a sec, I'll look him up. I felt that the book was just written for our industry. The stuff that he was saying was just so on point for what we deal with, you know, particularly in the ISV space.
Yeah.
Let me just jump across to him. The Hard Thing About Hard Things was the name of the book. Let me just go back to the cover of the book. Get his name. Ben Horowitz is the guy's name.
Yeah.
But Andreessen is definitely mentioned a lot of times in the book.
Yeah. Well, Andreessen Horowitz is now a huge VC, right?
That's right. So at the end of the book, he talks about going out and establishing this. But I tell you, the guy's a straight shooter, and he just doesn't mess about and going, you know, you might get the right person on the bus for the first year of your startup, but that's as far as they can go with you, because their role needs to evolve as you scale, and they might not have the capabilities to scale.
Sounds like a sales pitch for his VC firm.
No, because only at the very tail end did he talk about funding and what they look for in a funder.
Yeah.
What the whole book is around, his whole journey and just the shit that they had to deal with, and how you, at some point, you just have to make some very fucking hard calls when nobody believes in you.
Yeah.
You know,
What else we got on our
laying
run
off
sheet?
500 staff because you have to do it, because otherwise you're going to be in receivership.
I thought you had some comment that you wanted to make around the presenters at Ignite. Wasn't there something going on with presenters at Ignite?
No, I think they've got a good lineup of presenters. I've actually written a blog post that I'm releasing next week, which will be just a little speckling of controversy.
No hints for our 3 viewers.
Okay, here's the hint. Here's the hint. Shall I find the title of it? Let me see. What's the title of the blog? 1 second. I'll just see if I can find it. And then I wanted to discuss another little topic with you that I found very interesting, which I was going to bring up last week and it didn't happen. Oh, here we go. Here's the title. If you're a middle-aged white guy, you don't fit the diversity requirements for Microsoft Ignite.
Nope.
It's going to come out the week of Ignite, and I think it's going to ignite a little bit of discussion. If you're a middle-aged white guy, you don't fit the diversity requirements for Microsoft Ignite. That's going live. I've written it, and I think it's going to create a bit of discussion. Well, I'm hoping it's going to create a bit of discussion.
You know, we both submitted things to Ignite, and we're both well known in the space and have loud voices and know what we're talking about and MVPs. And they denied both of our things, and then we turn around and see they're accepting sessions from young girls that have only been in the space for an hour. So clearly something's going on. Clearly something's going on. Maybe they're just tired.
I'll say no more.
They're just tired of hearing from us.
Here we go. My next thing I wanted to bring up, quantum computing. So the week before last, 1 hour after it got published, I was notified about Google have finally been able to, in a lab environment, create a quantum computer. And one of their validation points was a calculation that with current computing power took 4,000 years to carry out the calculation. 4,000 years, right? So we're talking about very complex. They're able to do it in, I don't know, I think 3 minutes or 30 seconds or something.
How do they know if the answer is right?
Because you get how they come out with 4,000 years, right? They run like 100 computers all simultaneously working.
For what, 400 years?
400 years, 1,000 computers, whatever, they just chuck it into Azure and they go scale that shit up. Boom.
Exactly.
But man, you should go to YouTube and check out the video, because for me straight away, in my limited understanding of quantum computing, that shit in the wrong hands could create massive issues. You just think, at the moment, 256-bit encryption takes about 40 days to crack on a supercomputer, right? So we go, okay, it's safe enough. We use SSL, secure sockets layer, when we have an internet connection, because by the time somebody cracks that 40 days later, your session's over. So good luck, right? Fuck yeah. It's worthless. Now with quantum computing, you imagine every form of encryption out there
could be cracked in a minute.
In less than a minute.
Yeah.
In 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Man, it changes okay, so that's the fear factor part of it. The interesting factor is this. The genome has been developed, and it's getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, and the mapping, etc., is becoming much more affordable. You imagine taking any other kind of health issues that we've got currently running in the world, and you apply mathematical analysis at that type of speed, how quickly are they going to be able to cure cancer, empower AI at a phenomenal? You imagine if you can have a machine learn at that speed, and they give a concept of kind of like, the whole idea of computing or binary is on ones and zeros, on or off. And with quantum, you can be in both states simultaneously, which opens up an infinite possibility when it comes to calculations.
You got to think if it's that powerful and that potentially dangerous, it's going to be one of those things kind of like nuclear weapons, where just not anybody can have one, just not any country can have it.
Everyone will have it.
It'll be, well, eventually, but I don't think everybody's going to have a nuclear weapon, right?
Yeah, but all the big players would do, right?
Yep. There'll be a new, like the nuclear arms treaty, there'll be the quantum treaty between nations and how it's used. And because, imagine being the country that has it when all the others don't.
No, forget countries, the company that has it.
Yeah. But,
right?
companies have come up with things and government has commandeered the whole technology, that whole thing anyway,
I tell you what, go read that book once again that I recommended last time by Brad Smith.
Yep, I am. I've got that one going.
Right? It is the companies that I think are going to rule the future, not the fucking governments, because I think they're still so far behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
Right? Companies now have the legal clout and the wherewithal to move anywhere on the globe faster than any country or legal system from a country can.
Yeah.
So they just bounce their operation. Like Google, I bet you have offices in pretty much 200 odd countries. Where there's 190 countries in the world. They can move anywhere.
Yeah,
Anybody will take them on board because of the business, the money that they would bring. So I think it's awesome. I can't wait. But the question for me straight away is, where's Microsoft? Because I tell you what, you can be sure these guys weren't, testing, R&Ding, etc., in a vacuum of other companies doing it. I bet you IBM's in play. I bet you Oracle's in play. Microsoft's in play. Absolutely, Microsoft will be in play because Amazon. I know I've seen Satya talk about quantum computing and stuff before. Yep. But I tell you what, I think, it does include New Zealand, kid, mate. We've got it all happening down there. That's where the quantum computing will happen. But mate, I'm excited about it. I think, wow, it's going to be amazing.
You're ready to buy your Surface Book 10 with the quantum processor in it?
Well, at the moment, of course, the processor is like what Google showed was absolutely massive. But that's only a matter of time, right, till that becomes fractional in size.
It'll get down to desktop size eventually, and then who knows? Eventually, it'll be in our freaking phones. Quantum computing in our phones. I won't be around for that.
What was the other thing? I wrote a post a couple of weeks ago about going independent, and once again, it blew up. It obviously hit a nerve.
Yeah.
It hit a nerve. Got a lot of interest. I was on a call a couple of hours ago with around communities, and there was a guy, I think he was out of Chicago, that was on the call with me. And he was like, we're talking about user groups, and at the moment, Dynamics communities basically don't allow partners or something to go to user groups. They've got to be users. I don't know, some legacy bullshit that I'm pretty much against, and saying everybody's a user, whether you're a partner or not. Don't be.
Yeah, they're probably trying to keep it turning into a sales meeting for partners.
Totally. But I gave ways to avoid that, no problem. But this guy, he raised an interesting point, because what they asked is, would you be worried that a partner comes along to the user group meeting that your customer is at, and this partner scopes on that? He goes, you know what? That doesn't worry me. What worries me is the independent consultant that goes to that partner and says, mate, you're paying $200 an hour for the Microsoft partner. I'll do it for $90 an hour.
Yeah. Oh,
he goes, it's the independent consultants that shit me. And I was like, fuck, I never thought of that kind of flip side from the partner perspective, is independent consultants coming in and offering to, work for less than half the price. Of course, the customer then carries the risk, but then the customer goes, well, it's just like having an employee rather than
exactly
a throat to choke, So
it's like an employee with no benefits other than pay.
But interesting, eh?
I think there's risk on both sides. As a customer hiring an independent, and we've seen this happen before, because we've come into projects where they had an independent who wasn't making enough money and went and got a job somewhere and couldn't help them anymore.
Yeah.
Now they got kind of left high and dry, which frankly is no different. We're seeing now with the citizen developer building applications for a company and then leaving. And now the company's got these, applications they don't know how to manage or maintain or do anything with, because the only person who did is gone. So that's the risk. We've got a big sports team here in the U.S. that's wanting us to come in for that very reason. Is we would rather have a partner that we know is going to be there. Because I'll have people come and go from my organization, but my organization's still here. They have people come in, they hire them, trying to save a couple bucks, and then they move on. So there's pros and cons, but everybody wants to save money. Same thing with outsourcing, right? Same thing with companies that want to outsource development. A customer that wants to bring in an outsourced firm from somewhere else. Their goal is to save money, but they don't always necessarily save money.
No, but I think that we are moving into a world of totally different business models for doing business. We can't hearken to the good old days. I think we need to adopt, I feel like, some of this new way of thinking, new way of working. And it's a tricky landscape. We can't have what we've always had. It's new.
Oh yeah, we've evolved our business model completely in the past several years from what was probably a fairly traditional downtown office space, a bunch of offices, people sitting in there, a bunch of equipment, to where now everything's virtual. Everyone is virtual. And frankly, we're way more productive than we ever were, all sitting together in an office. Being in an office leads to meetings, endless meetings, pointless
meetings are a waste of time and resources.
Oh my God.
Like I used to, when I was working, in big time partner land, and I would see what I was paying consultants coming into a session for an hour, do the multiply on that.
Yeah.
And the amount of money I was burning for people that weren't engaged in the meeting or needed in the meeting, but it was kind of like, that's the dictate of the company. Just an absolute waste.
Same with law firms. You go in and meet a law firm and there's like 12 attorneys at the table. And you're like, what are all these people here for? Well, they're all here so we can bill you.
Hey, Fleming just said he's an independent advisor, a member of the local UG. Mate, what do you think of the comments then I just made? Because, I'd never thought of it like that. Huh?
Which UG would he be talking about? Which local?
I have no idea. And are you AX? Or a GP or what type, or a CE? It's not CE anymore, right? We can't say CE anymore.
Yeah, what do we say now?
Is sales, marketing, or customer service, or abbreviate CRM. Whoa. Not CRM.
Yeah, nonprofit meetings.
In Denmark, he's in Denmark.
Okay, all right. Cause I wonder how the local UG is in Denmark. It's pretty active group.
Well, NAV, didn't that come from Denmark? It's pretty massive.
Yeah, Copenhagen, right?
Yeah. I got two nephews that live over there.
Yeah.
So one thing I want to say about AppSource, and I want to get your opinion on it, is where, the 15th has come and gone. It's 15 days ago now.
Just talked to them today.
Have you seen a drop off in the store?
They haven't done it yet.
Pardon?
They haven't done it yet. They are, as Microsoft always does, they're giving way, warnings, more warnings, threatening it's going to be this day, move the day. They just don't want too much backlash. I was talking to that team today, in fact, who said that starting next week, they're going to start dropping. I'm like, dude, they've said starting next week for a month now.
Yeah.
So
that's the beauty of starting next week, right?
Yeah. They've sent people hundreds of emails with no response. At some point you got to realize, dude, that ISV is not interested.
MIA.
You've done your job. Send them 2 emails and you've done your job. If suddenly they something.
Honestly, pull the pin. All you got to do is put it into a non-active state. You don't have to delete it. Put it into a non-active state.
That's what they're going to do. They're just going to unpublish them. They're not going to delete them.
Well, hurry up. Fucking hell.
This to me has been Well, I think they've got other things behind the scenes going on with AppSource to where it really becomes a decent market. But clearly having it full of garbage has never helped. And there was no upside that I could imagine whatsoever to having a bunch of busted apps that won't even install sit there in that marketplace for over a fucking year now.
Yeah.
There's no logical answer to me for that occurring, that they couldn't have just done that. I mean, without even warning that just, you know what, this app no longer functions. We're going to depublish it. It's on the ISV to make sure their shit still works and is functioning. It's not Microsoft's responsibility to do anything but turn that shit off if it doesn't work anymore.
100% agreed.
I don't understand why they put all the power on this decision, all this stuff over to the ISV completely. If they'd have shut everything off that wasn't working, you know, all this begging ISVs to update and do, they wouldn't do any of that shit. The ones that wanted to would have, and the ones that didn't wouldn't. They're just going to save a whole bunch of wasted.
But it comes back to that whole dilemma: an empty app store, nobody comes to, right? And so they got a cat and mouse situation here. They got a, you know, damned if they do, damned if they don't. Huh?
It's not going to be empty. I'd heard that over half of the existing applications in AppSource had been updated and are good to go. So, you know, they're going to lose half the AppSource, maybe, if that. But that's all the garbage anyway. I mean, how does that possibly help them that a customer comes, tries 3 different apps, none of them will install? They're just going to throw out the whole of AppSource as a waste of time.
Totally.
I don't think it helped anybody.
Well, mate, we're coming up the top of the hour. Only 4 minutes to go.
Do you have anything else on the run sheet you want to cover, or did we get them all?
Well, we've covered everything I wanted to cover. I was going to say, you know, goodbye from London.
Yeah.
I had a send off last Friday, or organized by Sarah Critchley.
I bet that was fun. Where'd you go, to a pub or something?
We was in a WeWork office that another person in the community has an office there, Allison, who once again did a fantastic. And I was blown away by the treatment I got, and blown away by, you can only describe as the love of the community. You know, there were people there that I'd never even met before that came along.
Yeah.
There's a bit of party games, you know, the old beer pong was out. There was there's a game called Pin the Dick on the Kiwi. Keith Watling arranged, people blindfolds trying to pin a dick or two on me. And then, but there was a whole bunch of videos that people had done. And I tell you what, bring a tear to the eye. It was so nice, so thoughtful of everybody. I've enjoyed my 18 months here in London.
Did a little tear come to your eye?
A little tear came to my mind. I put those videos out this week on, you know, from everybody on Twitter. I only put them out on Twitter.
Yeah.
Well, they're up on my, there's a playlist. I put them on YouTube there. But yeah, man, it was incredible feeling that that we are in an amazing community, and I cannot believe just how quickly you can move to another country and bed in and find your people, and have this massive support network. So yeah, it was amazing. I got to thank Sarah. I got to thank Allison. I got to thank Lucy. All amazing putting this on, and then Will Dorrington, of course, bought me a wig. I had a blonde wig that he had arranged there. Chris Huntingford, you know, getting on the bevies. That's, I think, where this Foster's, I think, turned up at home for him, actually.
Yeah.
And but man, I was blown away. So I got a couple of days left here. Saturday is fly day, and so I'm going to the Ritz. My wife has arranged tomorrow night. We're at the Ritz Hotel. We're going, which is
style.
I think, yeah. So we're going for a high noon, you know, or afternoon tea or something. I have to wear a full dinner suit to be allowed into the venue.
Do you have one, or do you have to go buy one?
No, I have one.
Does it still fit?
I'm not in t-shirts all the time. Yeah, it actually fits because of a cruise that I bought it for. We'll address that. But yeah. So yeah, it's been great. Thanks to everybody in the UK who's been so welcoming. And who knows? I'm not sure if I'll be at Scottish Summit or not. We've still got to work out some logistics. I was meant to be speaking there, but that was based on me living in London. So let's see what happens. Who knows?
And I won't be here next week, but I'll be back the week after because I'll be on a plane during this. So
And if
So,
you're listening to the playback and you want to co-host with me, hit me up. You know, I'm on all the socials, so you know how to find me. But you got to sell yourself why you've got the game that we would want on.
I'm not hard to beat. They should be able to improve on me pretty easily. So.
Mate,
Mark.
you're top notch. We're not finished yet. We've got to go to the top of the hour. We're on countdown. Any last words from the folks on chat? Oh, hang on. Only marketing on top of 10 years. Yeah, Fleming was on NAV, just like I thought in Denmark. That makes sense.
Yeah.
We've hit the top of the hour. So with that, Steve-O, have a good week, and we'll see you from New Zealand next time.
Have a good flight.